Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Idil Aiman bin Zamri. Today I want to discuss on the 4 factors that influence the style of Malaysia contemporary art of 1930 to 1957. The contemporary in art of Malaysia began around 1930s. These are the 3 main factors influencing the easily development of modern Malaysian art. These 3 factors are namely English globalization, the emergence of figures and education, reimagination of modern Malaysian art independent to the national modernization process. This includes visual art, cartoon art, literature, and other forms of art involved in the cultural development of Malaysia. The conclusion: the role of art group of societies in the development of art in the country cannibal diminish. The emergence of a new group does not mark the damage of the older ones. Instead, the notes and new advancement of the art scenes. Many artists has benefit as working a group helper stimulation similar objective and vision. Hence is the way artists motivated and those support had heritage, character, and contemplational level in creative work. They have concession and signification of this group, and society definitely contribute many aspects to the local art. They have a successful following various style topic them in the local modern art. The Malaysian artist style from 1913 to present has been vast from the temperature facility contents that are mainly influenced by the national and local political scene, culture, education, economy, and Islamic influence. Hence, the current Malaysian modern art scenes still has a plenty of space to grow and improve in the future, as there are still many young artists in the country are still highly motivated and inspired by their work, characterized by this final group of greater artists or guru of this area. History shows the colonialism, immigration, and Western education system played an enormous part in the birth of modern Malaysian art. Modern work of art definitely from the conventional artist impression of traditional art development are followed by artists in group or individually. Hence, in this process of learning to development to modern Malaysian art must credit the style of each group, the individual artists, and their social and chronological context. Serena, 2010. Research show the scene of 19th century Malaysia, the Malaya, has easily been dependent by Europe, traveler and colonial and Chinese traded. A few writings have suggested the modern art in Malaysia started Circa 1920, which pioneers such as Yong Mong Sen, Abdullah Alif, Lee Kao Yong, Kao Sia, Tai Hoi Kiap, and Q Jong Peng, to name a few. The geographical entity known as West Malaysia was known as the Malay Peninsula or Tanah Melayu, meaning the Latin of belonging to people to Malay stock, even those the Chinese and India has been visiting the region before 1400. It was only after establishment of British control in the region and this portion of the rich natural region of Malaysia rubber, tin and palm oil, which migrated from Chinese and India, began to settle in the largest number. One of the important changes the result from British colonial rule was the attainment of labor to sever the colonial economy result in an era of Chinese and Indian immigration from middle in the 19th country until 1913, which the opponent with 10 million of ruble extension in the 1013 country. The development of Malaysia art activity according of a Reza Playadasa Malaysia development in assimilating the 1913 was started by a group for watercolor artists in Penang. Their participation of local landscape indirectly formal of starting point from traditional of modern art in country. Reza Playadasa 1981 which reference of to Penang. Azli art activity aeroplane began with founding of Penang in 1786 with Sir Francis Light. Under the East India Company, Penang was now the reach of Washer Island. British artists residing of Penang we found a painting the marine view and Penang landscape. However, it is like local Penang we also catering to the patronage of the airport trading company.
Okay, hi, my name is Emmanuel Suloni and my metric number is 2020453808 and I'm from VCS VCS 265. Now I'm going to talk about the main factor influence the early development of modern Malaysian art. There are about 3 main factors that influence this Malaysian art, namely English colonization, the immigration of foreigner, and education. As for modern art, it is defined as work that differ from any traditional artistic convention. Since the 18th century, Malaysia had been inhabited by European traveller, colonial, and Chinese trader, and the British introduced to Malayan about the genre of landscape painting realism. The birth of modern Malaysian art is linked to the national modernization process. Indeed, modernization represents one of the major issues in the discussion of the culture. Development of Malaysian, including visual art, cartoon art, and literature, modernization is also often seen as a westernizing process, both from the perspective of the meaning of cultural object and human behavior. So, starting out as a European art group, the Penang Impressionists saw its first local member in 1920 with the inclusion of Abdullah Arif, an art instructor, and Mr. Lim Cheng Kung, whose husband was manager of the Street Echo newspaper. The arrival of artists from China in the 1930s played a significant role in the development of modern Malaysian art. On the other story about Nanyang Academy of Fine Art, since China had ideological conflict and political instability, many Chinese chose to leave China for Southeast Asia, or what they describe as Nanyang. NAFA had a predominantly Chinese outlook in terms of staff and student until the late 1950s, and the academy was founded in 1938 by Lim Hak Tai in Singapore. They are financially supported by a group of Chinese businessmen, and the founder are Yong Mun Sen was a Malaysian artist of this NAFA, known as Father of Malaysian Painting. It was the first art academy in British Malaya to offer full-time course in painting and sculpture, and was responsible for the emergence of important group of artists. For the fourth one is the Wednesday Art Group in 1952, were founded in Kuala Lumpur by Peter Harris. There was artists such as Patrick Ismail Mastam, Syed Ahmad Jamal, and Zulkifli Buyong, with most of WAC members were self-taught. This is the first group that affect a fair number of Malay, Chinese, and Indian members. Their artwork were mainly about self-imprisonments and investigation of new idea. Lastly, about Angkatan Pelukis Menanjung, that's called APS. It was established in 1956 by Java-born painter Muhammad Husin Enas. Its name changed to Angkatan Pelukis Malaysia in 1968 and formed on a basis similar to Angkatan Seni Rupa Indonesia, or commonly known as ASRI. These were established at the United Malay National Organization (UMNO) political party headquartered in Kuala Lumpur. The APS group was the first Malay art group that was officially registered in this country and include mainly Malay artists such as Muhammad Husin Enas. So in the conclusion, history show the colonization, migration, and the Western education system play an important role in triggering the modern art style in Malaysia. Modern work of art and different from the conversation of traditional artistic impression in the country are developed and continued by artists in group or individually. Therefore, the study of the development modern Malaysian art style must take into the account the style of a group, individual painter, and place it in the context and space of time. The emergence of modern art of the country can be interpreted as new exploration, not only in terms of form, but also iconography. Artistic activity have also been dominated by the production of traditional art based of abstract, visual language communication and symbolism, and represent a nation. This modern art is characterized by multiracial and multicultural society. Socio-political and economic development have influenced the look and soul of modern Malaysian art. Among the factors influencing modern Malaysian art also include national independence, the birth of various institutions of higher learning that have focused by local artists, government support and corporate bodies visual art activity from the aspect of patronage, establishment of gallery and sponsorship by various competition and exhibition. And for my that's all from me, and I hope this was enough, and thank you.